This is Comic Book Lexicon. I'm Stephen Thomas.
And I'm Joshua of Grand Rapids.
This is Wolverine Volume 2, Issue Number 2. It's published in 1988. Written by Chris Claremont, penciled by John Buscema, inked by Al Williamson, lettered by Tom Orzechowski, and colored by Glynis Oliver.
Yep.
So this is the second part of the Black Blade, or Sword Quest is what they call it, right?
Yeah. And last issue was not bad at all, but I feel like this issue is where we start being reminded why you and I were more enthusiastic about getting here than we were about doing any of the previous videos.
Yeah. So at the end of the first issue, Wolverine is with Lindsay. She knows now that Kojima is dead.
Yes.
And now they have to find some answers.
Yeah, and they have to find Jessica Drew, her roommate.
Yeah. So
who's
they're
also Spider-Woman.
So now they're in Lowtown and they're in a bar. I don't think this is the Princess Bar, but
yeah, I don't think so either. Because O'Donnell is in this story,
series, yeah.
but he's not in the bar.
No. So they go to the bar and everyone's kind of like looking at him because she's an American and Wolverine's there. And they're trying to find some answers about what's going on or whatever.
Yeah, and at this point, like she's more trying to keep up with Wolverine than she is like actually keeping her head in the game.
Yeah.
And like I'm sure some of that has to do with when she walks in the bar, she's an easy target. She doesn't look like basically anyone else in Lowtown. Like there are other white people there, but it's mostly just like war vets and shit like that.
Yeah.
She's this young American actress, and it says, you know, she doesn't even have to speak the language to know what they're saying because they're being so lascivious. So as soon as it's clear that Wolverine's doing the like I'm with the girl thing, she doesn't want to continue looking helpless. So she orders the same drink he orders. They say it's going to put you on your ass, and she's like, yeah, right, and it does. But then she gets right back up and starts slurring her speech, and she stays drunk through all of next issue.
Yeah.
But she's also like, what's in this drink? And she lists off the ingredients. She's like, I know what that is. That's a Long Island iced tea. I have those all the time. And they figure out that they're from the same part of New York. Like this bartender is Amityville.
Okay. Like Long Island.
Yeah, and then she's from somewhere else just outside of Long Island that is nearby enough that they both know the same boathouse. And before they start, you know, bodily spilling their memories about this boathouse where they probably took a bunch of guys, Wolverine's like, let's keep our eyes on the prize here.
Yeah, so she's all drunk. And at this point, Wolverine like walks off, right? They're like kind of like...
Yeah, he's like, you're staying here.
Yeah.
So there was really no point in breaking up the conversation.
Yeah.
He could have just dipped.
So he heads upstairs. She's upset, but she looks around. Everyone's looking at her now that she's by herself. So she's like, "Let me help you out behind the bar."
Yeah, she doesn't want to be out with all those guys looking at her. So she's like, "Can you bartend?" And she tries sliding back there and brilliantly fails.
Yeah, makes a big mess.
Probably breaks her tailbone.
Yeah.
Second Adam doing this with. I'm sorry. One, look at the weird composition on this. It looks like he was looking at whoever did this. It looks like they were looking at each individual element as its own photo reference. Like they had maybe this laying out on a table and like the hat, everything independently, and they manually collaged it in drawing. Like it doesn't all look like it's on the same guy.
Well, the hat looks like it's in front of his face. It doesn't look like it's on his head.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's not casting a shadow in his...
It's also like too far down on his head to not be sitting on... Or it's too far down on his head to be sitting on top of his head, but you can tell it should be sitting on top of his head.
Yeah.
But this is also the creepy doctor from fucking the original Lost in Space.
You just get to see his face?
Yeah. For a second, I like mismarked him and I thought he was one of the old doctors from the Doctor Who series, which I don't even know why I give a shit about that. But then it clicked, and I'm like, Lost in Space, and I did an image search while I was reading this, and god damn it.
Yeah.
I'm throwing it up. It's so dumb. Like, of all things to photo reference for a cowboy gunslinger, like, you photo reference this weird, effeminate doctor from Lost in Space that everyone makes, like, pedophile jokes about. It's weird.
So now he's upstairs at the bar, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. So, and he sort of recaps what happens in issue 1.
It almost pissed me off when I was reading it because, like, I hate this recap shit.
Yeah.
And I usually just pop past it. Like, if there's action going on, I just follow the action, like whoever's fighting, and I pop past all the stupid captions because all that shit's unnecessary.
Right.
But this flashback, like, Buscema makes it nice to follow. So you end up following it, and you're like, God damn it, John Buscema, you're making me read this stupid fucking shit.
So he's looking for Jessica Drew.
Manages to destroy another door.
Yes, breaks in the door. There's a whole bunch of dead people.
Yeah, and they use the red to the same effect as they did in...
The 1982.
Yep.
Yeah. After he walks in, he's attacked by Silver Samurai, who I don't know that much about. Like, Silver Samurai's a mutant.
He's lame.
Yeah.
Like, everyone in this book talks like a real person until he shows up.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's almost why he's here.
Yeah.
He's honorary comic relief because everyone else is real enough to be funny on their own, but you still need something to break things up and kind of hang a lampshade on.
Yeah.
And they chose Silver Samurai because he's appropriate. But yeah, his whole deal is he dresses up in all silver as a samurai, and he has this like crazy energy that he can focus through his sword and make his sword basically like this invincible tool.
So he's looking for the Black Blade because
Yeah.
he believes he's like a righteous owner, or like he's destined to have this sword.
Yeah, my powers are perfect for this, so obviously it belongs to me.
Yeah. And he's basically like, I don't know what you're doing here, but don't get involved, to Wolverine.
Yeah. And Wolverine's just as happy to see him because he's like, this is going to make everything harder because this guy fucking hates me.
Yeah, hates his guts. And then this is Jessica Drew.
Yes.
So this is actually Spider-Woman, right? I don't know that much about this character.
She apparently, like, they do one of those stupid little asterisks where it's like, see this issue of Avengers, but like, she had been depowered at some point because they love doing that to female characters.
Yeah.
So much. Like, take away Charles Xavier's powers and he can walk. Like, he gets something for it. Take away female's power and she gets, like, a year worth of character development.
Yeah.
But yeah, something happened that depowered Jessica Drew, so she's not Spider-Woman anymore, and she's kind of this proto-Jessica Jones. She's just doing the private eye thing in the Marvel Universe.
Okay. And so she has the Black Blade, and the Black Blade, like, corrupts.
Yeah, it took on all the ambition of its maker. And they kind of explain this later. So, every sword maker is like a kind of obsessive person. And they're pursuing this obsession with perfection in this weapon. And that kind of can be its own form of insanity. And it didn't just manifest as this guy, like manifest in its strongest form as this guy was working on this sword. It imbued itself onto the blade. So the blade is this self-aware fetish object that is like, I am perfect and I demand everything of you because only the worthiest can have me. Only the worthiest can be defeated by me. And so, like, somehow all of that obsessive energy imprints onto each person that wields it, takes that person with it when it goes because it's obsession, and it carries like the soul of everyone that it's killed. It's a pretty interesting concept. It sounds really, really stupid to explain, but like if you think about that just as an abstract idea, it's interesting. It's like hell in an object.
Yeah, I don't know if it sounds stupid. It sounds like mythology that you hear in like different. Like I've seen all sorts of samurai movies and things like that.
It also like touches on the same type of ideas that you see in like the Hellraiser movies.
Yes, totally.
Like that, you're chasing an idea so singularly that you ultimately don't care what it does to you.
Yeah. Downstairs, Lindsay is cleaned up. She's got some new dress on.
Prom night turned into a Twitter war over this red dress.
And she's going to try to 10 bar. Now, as that's happening, Silver Samurai and Jessica Drew come crashing through the stairs or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're fighting. And
even in that Joan Jett get up, Lindsay recognizes her.
Yeah. Now this is the part that was a little bit now these guys downstairs, these like thugs or whatever, they just decide they want to fight.
Yeah, they think that something can be gained from the chaos.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even seem like they know exactly what. Like this is very obviously a bar.
Yeah.
And this is very obviously Chris Claremont being what happens in bars and action movies and trying to maybe crack the rationale on like what makes a bar fight happen and being so amused at the lack thereof when he's trying to think of it that he's like, that's it. So we had to include it.
So like for a second, Silver Samurai and Jessica Drew have to like not join forces, but they both have to fend off these dudes in the bar.
Yeah. And he talks like they're like, this guy's sword, like we're no match for any of that, and he's like, that's why they call guns equalizers, bud. Don't worry, I don't have anything to say about that ad.
So then Lindsay sees her best friend, or her roommate best friend, Jessica Drew, and she doesn't know that Jessica Drew's like consumed by the evil of this sword, and she like lunges at her. Luckily Logan's there to kind of step in.
Yeah, and this exchange between she and Jessica kind of gets demystified later, so we'll touch back on this.
Yeah.
But basically the Blade does not like you acknowledging your own humanity.
Right.
This is the best panel in the whole book.
Yeah.
So, not him hitting her face.
So now Silver Samurai and Jessica Drew are fighting, and
most beautifully rendered sparks I've seen. Dude, that's hard.
Yeah. And then Logan shows up, and he's gonna try to chase down Jessica Drew.
Yeah.
As the bar comes tumbling down, he's chasing her, and then Lindsay is there, but she's gonna stay behind with the Silver Samurai.
Yeah. And this leads into a really great counterintuitive use, like a reverse logic use of a fire escape. And I'm excited to get there.
There's always like when you see this in movies, like people put their sword in their mouth and carry it with their teeth.
Yeah.
I just thought like every time I've picked up anything that like was even sort of a sword, it seems like it's pretty heavy. Like I can't even imagine carrying it around in my mouth.
I mean, if it's balanced right.
Yeah, that's true.
I've carried, suitcases with my teeth.
Oh no, thank you. So then, Silver Samurai and Lindsay are like trying to figure out who each other are, or he knows who she is.
She's trying to see if Jessica or Wolverine are in the rubble, she spots the samurai's sword, and then she spots him, and she's like, I got you where I want you, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you out of here, but you're going to owe me your life. And so, in that whole, situation of owing me something, you're going to help me get my friends. And he's like, no, I'm not. And then she falls to the floor anyway, and he's like, there, a life for a life. Fuck you.
Now this is great because Wolverine's chasing her, about to fight her. He takes his jacket and his shirt off, just kind of sweet. He's gotta do that. And then they confront and they have a battle.
To quote Ronnie Van Zant, if you got a problem, I'll be out back with my shirt off.
And she just keeps trying to get away from him, and she has to fight him and like intermittently, but he's just like not giving up.
And I love what they do here. Like, she's depowered.
But she's a very Spider Woman.
But the blade is like, I got a little something for you.
Yeah. They're still fighting.
But yeah, this is what I love. Like, their sparks, and he even says it in the captions, their sparks ignite this blaze in this warehouse and the adjoining bar, which I believe has a brothel above it because they call it a joy house later.
Yeah.
So that would explain why she was in one of those rooms up there, holed up. So these sparks ignite this huge inferno, and now they have to use the fire escape to go up to the top of the building.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Exact backward, but it's such a perfect set piece for action. Like, reverse of what you're supposed to do, but like just this, even the psychology, not just the imagery, but the psychology of that being backwards.
Well, like the flames or the imminent danger coming up from below forces you to like go, like almost like deeper into the dangerous part of the building or whatever. So now they're on the roof and they're fighting, and Wolverine's finally able to get the blade away from her.
Yeah, she drops it, he takes it, and it immediately is like, I found my favorite new homie.
Yeah, and I think this is the blade talking.
Yeah.
Such spirit I have never known. Rejoice, warrior, for thou and I are fated to be one. And Wolverine's immediately like...
And that's one thing we haven't really touched on. Yeah, Wolverine is briefly aware of what's going on enough to be unhappy with it. But that's one thing we haven't touched on. Like, the whole time Jessica Drew's been possessed by the sword, she's been doing that thee, thou, Thor speak.
Yeah.
And so, from now on, we're going to hear, Wolverine, avast.
So now she like goes through a transformation, and he goes through a transformation.
Yeah, each time this blade gets you, it apparently gives you hair metal vibes.
Yeah.
And so she no longer has it. She goes back into the red sweatsuit she was wearing, and his pants get tighter because he already took his shirt off.
Yeah. And he says, "Thou knowest thine own desire." And then the Silver Samurai and Lindsay see Wolverine holding Jessica Drew from the roof.
Yeah, and apparently the blade is aware of the cult that awaits it. It's like they're mutually seeking each other.
Yeah.
Because he's talking about sacrificing her to this blade.
Yeah. And that's the end of issue number 2. So that, and then we get the...
Glorious Sienkiewicz.
Yeah.
Like, you really see here where Bisley pulls from Sienkiewicz, because like Sienkiewicz is always hard as fuck, but he's rarely this macho.
Yeah.
And this is just like dude on dude on dude. And being a homie, letting all the kids know about his friend Chris Claremont's little novel, First Flight. I saw ads for that. I see you.
I love this. This is a great image. All of our information is in the description of this video. My Instagram, Josh's Instagram, and then the Comic Book Lexicon Instagram. All in the description of this video. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, right.
Bye.